ain't no fucking water in these fire hydrants. How the fuck is the firefighter supposed to work if they ain't got no water in the fire hydrants? It ain't making sense, man. And let me tell you, the city look bad. It look bad out here. Real talk. President Biden come down here. He came down here to see his grandson, okay? His grandson was born today at Cedars-Sinai. He held a press conference and said nothing. He didn't say a motherfucking thing, all right? And Gavin Newsom was sitting right behind him, and he didn't say a motherfucking thing either. Oh, and just so you know, they sent out another $500 million to Ukraine today, okay? Are they gonna help the people? They probably not. Man, so many houses and got burned down out here, man. It looks ugly, and it just looks bad, man. So many people done lost their homes. Dogs done burned up. I seen horses on fire. It looks ugly. And I apologize, man. I usually don't get on here and cuss too much, man. But I'm a little frustrated, to be honest with you. I'm a little mad, dog. Y'all stay safe, man.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure you're following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning, and also follow me on Rumble as well. Both links are in the description box below. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we have to talk about the wildfires that are tearing everything up here in my home state of California. We got to talk about it because, you know, if you let the DNC tell it, right? If you let Gavin Newsom tell it, the governor of California, if you let Mayor Karen Bass tell it, the mayor of Los Angeles, you know, this is just a natural disaster that has gotten a little bit out of control, and that we were blindsided by. But everything is okay. Don't worry about it. That is not true. This is something that was manageable on so many levels, but because of negligence and sheer stupidity, things have gotten as bad as they are. I want you to take a moment to listen to what Gavin Newsom had to say when he talked about very briefly here with Anderson Cooper about why the fire hydrants in the Palisades ran out of water. Take a moment to listen to what he has to say, because he sounds completely clueless and he's making up excuses. But what we're going to find out in just a moment is that, once again, all of this stuff was manageable and preventable to a large and significant degree.
What is the situation with the water? Obviously, in Palisades, ran out last night in the hydrants. I was talking to the firefighter on this block. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just
what? Listen to what he just said. He said, hey, look, the local folks are going to have to figure that out. You know, they're going to figure it out. I don't know what you're asking me for. Local folks, they got it. Let them figure it out. He's just so cavalier with the way in which he just kind of dismissed it and saying, hey, man, you know, look, the local folks are going to have to figure that out. You know, they're going to have to take care of it. Anyways, I'll run it back and let it play from the beginning.
What is the situation with the water? Obviously, in Palisades, ran out last night in the hydrants. I was talking to the firefighter on this block. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system that's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electricity, or whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe 1 fire. You have something at this scale, but again, that's going to be determined by the local.
Now, look, once again, he's making up excuses, right? Because what we're getting ready to see now is another California resident who's an actor, Zachary Levi. He's going to explain right now why everything that he's saying is excuses and BS and foolishness. Let's jump into this clip next.
Incredible mismanagement, incredibly poor leadership. I would go so far as to say that it's criminally negligent, because, I mean, Gavin Newsom has been either the governor for 5 years or lieutenant governor prior to that for 8-9 years. Some of the worst fires we've ever had in California under that watch. He clearly knows that the biggest problem that we suffer in California are these fires, and by the way, the mudslides that follow. And for them to do essentially not just nothing, but worse than nothing, when firefighter budgets are being cut, when they are specifically intentionally not doing the work that could be done to avoid these problems or to be able to effectively serve them when they are happening, we are losing. I mean, I think it's something like millions of acres of feet of water runoff from rain and snow every year in California. As you pointed out, I think the smelt have something to do with that. That's an acre foot of water, by the way, is about 330,000 gallons of water. And there's millions of those that are just rolling off into the ocean when they could be captured in cisterns. We'd have an ecosystem of hoses and safety measures that can keep all of these homes and people in these homes safe. And for some reason, they choose to do none of that. And at some point, it goes beyond just whoopsie. At some point, it goes beyond negligence. There's something that's almost criminally intentional about this. Like, what are they doing? I don't know.
So,
Like he said, there's almost something criminal about this. It's almost criminal at this point when you look at the intentional and deliberate negligence behind what's going on. Now, he talked about the firefighters' budget being cut. Let's go over to this article here right now concerning the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass slashed fire budget last year, prioritized homeless population. Now, for some of you, you might think like, oh, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Don't you want to take care of the homeless? Well, let's get into that and what's actually going on with taking care of the homeless, allegedly, which they are not. As someone who is a Los Angeles resident, I can tell you 100% they are not doing anything about the homeless population here in Los Angeles. But let's jump into this article very quickly. Los Angeles's budget is in the spotlight as multiple wildfires rage around the city mid revelations that Mayor Karen Bass slashed the fire department's budget last year while prioritizing spending on the city's homeless population. For the 2023-2024 fiscal year, Los Angeles budgeted $837 million for the Los Angeles Fire Department, which was roughly 65% the size of the homeless budget of $1.3 billion. Okay, $1.3 billion for homeless issues and $837 million for the Los Angeles Fire Department. Now let's see if they put that money to good use concerning the homeless population, right? An analysis by Los Angeles City Comptroller last year found that roughly half of the budget for homelessness went unspent. So they dedicated $1.3 billion to fight homelessness, which is so laughable because, like I said, living here, it's clear that they're not doing it. And as you can see here, the LA City Comptroller stated half of that $1.3 billion wasn't even spent. And here's what's even more crazy. The LAFD's budget was reduced by 17 million, but if Karen Bass would have had it her way, it would have been reduced by 23 million. This woman is insane, and the policies of these people are insane. Once again, there's something criminal about all of this because the negligence that we're seeing here, it's just so intentional. Like, I can't even say that these people are just being stupid. They're not being stupid. They're doing all this deliberately, and it's ridiculous. And people are paying the cost for it. People are losing their homes, losing their property, precious memories that they'll never get back in terms of their neighborhoods being turned to complete dust, let alone personal belongings and things of that nature. Imagine photos and, maybe I was going to say stuffed animals. And the reason I say stuffed animals is because I'm thinking of literally a small pony that my mother bought for me when she was pregnant with me, right? The first gift that I ever had in life was a gift that my mother bought for me, which was a stuffed pony, right, that she bought while she was pregnant with me. And I still have it to this day. It's something that is very precious to me. I would be heartbroken and devastated if that went up in flames. So imagine the people that are losing so many, not just memories by way of photos, but just things that you can't get back, like a stuffed pony that I gave as an example, right? But things that have strong sentimental value for you that you cannot put a dollar amount on. People are losing all of this, and literally at this point for absolutely no reason. What I want to do now in closing is that I want to play this one last video here of another California resident. She's speaking about the very same thing that I was talking about just now in terms of memories lost, hard work lost, everything down the drain due to the negligence, criminal negligence of the leadership here in California and Los Angeles. Let's jump into this clip now in closing.
It is just so heartbreaking to see what's happening in the Pacific Palisades in California, in Los Angeles. So many good friends who worked really hard for years and created beautiful homes for themselves and their families. It's all going up in smoke, and preventable, by the way. I mean, we have a mayor who cut the budget of the fire department in California by over $17 million. Fire is the biggest hazard in Los Angeles. Why would you cut that budget? There was no water in the fire hydrants in the Palisades. And by the way, she wasn't even in town during like fire season. A completely stupid trip to Ghana, completely unnecessary, on taxpayer funds. Maybe stop doing those trips and fund the fire department. This is what's infuriating. I don't hate California. I love California. We had 32 beautiful years there, and the people running the show just decimated the place. Drugs, homelessness with mentally ill people on the streets, crime. Our next door neighbors were burglarized there. Taxes. What are you paying all these taxes for? To see your neighborhood go up in smoke. It's so enraging that they took one of the most beautiful states, maybe the most beautiful state in the union, and just continued to destroy it. Gavin Newsom standing there with his hands in his pockets. Oh well. I just really feel for everybody there. I really do. Anyway.
When she said Gavin Newsom just standing there with his hands in his pockets, didn't it seem like that was the case in the previous video that we watched? It really gave that feeling and that sentiment that that's what it was. He just has his hands in his pockets. And basically, when he's being asked about what's going on with the fire hydrant situation and why there's no water, hey, man, what did Marshawn Lynch say years ago? I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm here for the optics and to make it look like I'm a competent governor of the state of California, which I'm not. He isn't. Neither is Karen Bass as the mayor of Los Angeles, but that's to be expected when you're talking about DNC lunatics. And with that being said, that does it for today's news. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms. And also don't forget to follow me on Telegram and Rumble at TD Media Group. The link to both my Telegram and Rumble account are in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.